Nina, Kirsten, and Charles are back. Kirsten, the president is going to take heat over this because each time he makes a suggestion or talks about something that a lot of folks view as outside the realm of his authority, there's going to be pushback. And here the FCC is independent, but he's saying he's directed them to do this, and what it will mean, we understand, is a tax on cell phone bills that makes everybody's bill higher.
Yeah, well, based on reports, the cost will be about $4 a year per person to expand our, internet access and to all over the country, which seems like a pretty good deal to me. I think that Obama probably feels like there's no point in even trying to get Congress to do something because there's really almost no idea that he's ever come up with that the Republicans will support. The fact that this is referred to. Well, if
you skip the legislative branch.
If he can do it, yeah. If he can do it and it's legal, I would do it. I mean, at this point, there's no point in even trying to deal with the Republicans. They're not going to. No, but they're not going to work with him. And I think, what is he supposed to just sit with his hands folded for the next 3 years?
Checks and balances.
Unless it's illegal, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, Charles, do you have a problem with it?
Well, look, that means he's a failure as a president. Lyndon Johnson had the solid South against him. He worked, he cajoled, he dealt, he made speeches, he mobilized the country, and he passed the civil rights. Obama says, well, these guys are obstructionists, so I'll do extra legal stuff, unconstitutional stuff. I'll direct an independent agency. And his own spokesman has to say, well, the agency will make up its own mind. Well, that's not what the word direct means. This is the way he operates. He says the other guys are bad guys. They really don't have the national interest at heart. I do, so I will do stuff and ignore the law. Under our system, what you do is you propose a law, you get it passed, and the Congress appropriates the money. This is not the way that we govern, and this is about the 10th time in his administration in which he's gone around the Congress in ways that are clearly unconstitutional, starting with the way that he's made all these unilateral amendments and suspensions in his own Obamacare without ever consulting with the Congress.
Nina, I want to ask you, the GOP has said if this plan moves forward, that they're not included, the Congress isn't included, that they're going to hold hearings. But when you have at stake is internet access for kids in schools, does this threaten to blow up in their face if they say, we're not going to go for this?
Let me put some perspective on all this. There actually is a program already at the FCC called E-Rate, and it already spends $2 billion a year to update technology, including putting internet in classrooms. For the president to have this soaring rhetoric, I mean, he's talking about expanding a program that actually already exists. But let's go down and look at the details of this program. It's rife with all sorts of bureaucratic delays. An FCC commissioner says you really need an E-Rate consultant if you're a school to even get access to this money. There's just such a bureaucratic nightmare. And there's scandal and abuse. They gave a $100 million grant to Puerto Rico to wire 1,500 schools. 9 schools were wired at the end of the day. Let's go in and look at that $2 billion and see if we can spend that better, take it out of money for pagers and things like that. Let's start there. But I don't think this kind of rises to the level of the end run around Congress that we're seeing on some of the other policies. It's a program that already exists, that Congress has approved. The FCC is an independent commission. It does have a majority of Democrats, and so it will probably go along. It's requesting comments for Fox viewers. They're requesting comments right now for a proposed amendment to the program, change the program. So I don't, I think it's more of a question of spending money that already exists the right way.
And it's projected this would be $4 to $6 billion, but critics say it's going to be much higher than that if they fully expand it.
It happens in a week where the highest law enforcement officer in the land gets a wild applause from the ABA when he proposes to direct prosecutors in the country to not enforce the drug laws as written and to actually conceal evidence in trials as a way to not trigger the mandatory sentences that are in the law. This is a pattern. Of course, it's not the worst, but it is absolutely astonishing how often this administration works outside what is our constitutional system.
Final word to you, Kirsten.
There's just nothing unconstitutional directing them to do this. Directing means this is what I'd like you to do. They will decide whether or not to do it. I don't see how that's unconstitutional, even if it ends up being a little more expensive than, what is it, $5 a year or $6 a year? I think we can afford that to help children have internet access.
It starts at 5.
And it goes up.